When it comes to the health community, there's this stigma behind people self-diagnosing themselves. Rightfully so. You don't want a lot of people walking around thinking that they have chronic illness or terminal illnesses. So if you have the resources, I do say go to the proper physician and get a proper diagnosis and get the help that you need. But what a lot of us don't understand is that a lot of people out there do not have the proper resources to get the right diagnosis, including when it comes to mental health. A lot of people can't afford to pay for treatment like therapy. A lot of people, insurance do not cover some of the cost, and after a while, coming out of pocket becomes very expensive. So I understand when sometimes the only option is for somebody is to go online and to search why they're sad, to search why they have anxiety, why they cry, or why they can't take care of themselves and the hygiene is becoming bad. Because sometimes even though self-diagnosing yourself is very bad and it could lead to you dwelling on things that aren't true, self-diagnosing can give you some type of relief, some type of clarity of why you are feeling the way you're feeling, even if it is a wrong diagnose. Some people live their lives better, live their lives with more understanding because they have found a group or society or community that has the same problems as them, that face the same issues and worries and pains as them. And sometimes just learning that there's people out there just like you help. But when it comes to the healthcare community, it's a lot of toxicity when it comes to people that do self-diagnosing, because people are starting to be labeled as hypochondriacs or attention seekers or just whatever. But I truly feel like if you have pain or experience pain, whether if you're a hypochondriac or not, it's real pain, even though if it's not real. Our minds, our bodies do extraordinary things where there's literally a syndrome where a woman can think and truly believe she's pregnant and not ever carry a baby. Her body would change to growing a bigger belly, even lactating, because her mind made her believe that. There's plenty more, thousands of illnesses out there that people go through every single day. And sometimes finding a solution to something you've probably been struggling with for months, years, sometimes even decades, and learning that this could be the thing that has made me question my life skills, that has made me forget, have issues, the thing that could answer my questions. And so when I look at it through that lens, I start to understand why people find comfort in self-diagnosing. For me personally, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. But growing up, I just knew what was happening to me was more than depression and anxiety. I experienced depression and anxiety, and it's something that was a burden on me for a long time and still is of my life. But there was something more that was happening psychologically that I just could not explain. And I didn't know if it was something that I should go back to get tested for, or if it was just all in my mind, or I was just a weird kid. But I just knew that I was different, and it didn't bother me before. I just found peace within that statement. But then as I got older, I continued to feel different. I continued to feel like I was out of place, an outcast. I continued to feel ostracized, even though I wasn't, but I ostracized myself. And I would look at people and I would wonder, why do they not think like me? Why do they not act like me? Why do I act this way? What makes me different than other kids or other people? And I could not find the answer. And it started to eat me up inside. It started to eat me up inside. And it led to many days of crying and feeling like I would never get a hold of my identity, of oneself. And then one day I got the answer. It wasn't a therapist diagnosed answer, but it was an answer that gave me peace. It was an answer that gave me understanding of why I felt this way for many years, why I've acted, talked, had problems, all because I found that community. I found that society that was just like me, that understood me, and they welcomed me with open arms, even after me discussing that I was self-diagnosed. Now, I would tell you what I found out in another video, but the whole point of me making this is because a lot of people think it's wrong, think it's unethical to self-diagnose yourself, to go on the internet and look for some type of answer. And I completely agree. There's some times where people go on the internet and they think they have cancer, they think they have a brain tumor, they think the worst of the worst. But there are times where people go and search and they get the little small answers that they need, the small clarities that they need. And I want to remind people, not everyone has that privilege of going to these professionals and making these appointments and getting tests done constantly to figure out what they want. So sometimes they just find a term and they stick to it and they hold to it, because sometimes knowing what box you're in helps you a little bit more in life. And so all that I ask is that when you look at people that self-diagnose or that have self-diagnosed, don't look at them on ill intent, but understand that sometimes having that phrase or that diagnosis attached to you makes you function a little bit more. And just because they self-diagnose doesn't mean they won't eventually ever get an actual diagnosis, but sometimes it's getting a temporary answer for a long-time solution. And it's hard. Sometimes I would say even embarrassing to walk out into the earth and say, hey, I think I have this. I'm not sure, but it gives me comfort. The people that would stop and stare and look at you as if you're crazy or attention seeking is way too many to count. But as long as the people that are doing this aren't hurting anybody, aren't trying to use this diagnosis as a flag to wave, let them be. Let them deal with coping in their life by themselves. Sometimes you don't need to constantly make a comment or make a remark. Yes, we understand that it is dangerous to walk around and say that we are something which we're probably not. But sometimes it gives us a lot of hope and a lot of help by thinking that we found something that resonates with us. That's why a lot of us don't even tell others what we've found, and we hold it deep in with our hearts. But don't look so disgusted when someone has went to forums and friend groups to find an answer. Because at the end of the day, we're all sick in our own ways. We all feel pain and feel confused and have questions within ourselves. Some can get actual answers. Others cope to find the answers. But just remember, at the end of the day, we're all human. And we all deserve to find peace in whatever we feel in some type of way. Whether if it's ethical or unethical.